right, here we go. I think I'm gonna name this video something like "Positioned to Receive the Promise, the Golden Ticket." And part of me like recoils from that title because it doesn't feel. When I think of like a golden ticket, I think of like a sure thing. That's what I think this video is about. But in faith, it's a sure thing. Like, to wait on God is to have a golden ticket. To have a golden ticket, right? And that golden ticket gets you the world. That golden ticket gets you into the chocolate factory, where then the chocolate factory becomes your chocolate factory. But when you are in a position, when God put you in a position to wait on a promise, and this is where I recoil from the title of this, it feels extremely unstable. It has for me anyway. So it's like, in faith, it's this golden ticket, but in this physical place, it seems so out of touch, so beyond reach. And it's almost like, if I were getting a sense of gambling or something, it's like the house always wins, but I'm never the house. The longer that you stay and gamble, the more you will lose your money. This is why they try to keep you in there, because ultimately the house always wins, right? So what they want to do, these places, these casinos, these things, they want you to stay as long as possible. And so the longer you stay, the more you lose, the more you're not willing to walk away losing. So you'll lose even more and more and more. And this has been the feelings that I have had waiting on God, as he presents to me this golden ticket. And it is the assurance of life. I don't know what he has promised you, but it seems to be this assurance of life. But in being positioned to receive this assurance of life, everything that was alive before, at least for me, has died. And that is very unstable. And back to the gambling like analogy, it's like the longer I'm waiting on him, the more I'm in the casino losing money. And the more I lose, the more I'm not willing to lose. So it's like the more you have invested. And I'm like, God, I don't believe that we're on the same page here. For some reason, it's faith to believe that you have this golden ticket for me, that is this assurance of a new life. There is this hope. But you, in a lot of ways, feel like the casino, the house that is just constantly allowing me to be robbed. And I think that he sees it in this way that's very annoying to me. And it's hard for me to understand, but a part of me does understand. And I think the part of me that understands is the part of me that he's having me understand. Meaning, he's opening my eyes and my ears to hear a new thing, right? Something that is foolish to the world is not foolish to him. But he's having me look at it like that, where I'm not losing, although it seems like I'm losing, right? But to be positioned to receive a promise is to have everything else fade away, to fall away. For what? To make room. Because to wait on God seems to be prepared for a new life. A new life that has the golden ticket, right? And nothing else is required. Nothing else from the old life is going to fit into the new life. So everything in the old life has to pass away. But this feels like losing. Him making room feels like losing constantly, over and over and over. And where Paul talks about, I think it's Paul, he's like, I'm pressed on all sides, but I'm not crushed. And I'm like, that is true. And a lot of times, like yesterday, I wish I was crushed. I wish I could go to a place where I was no longer conscious. I'm not even talking about going to heaven. I don't know why. I want to cease to exist. Because I don't want to feel this anymore. It's so overwhelming to constantly feel these things. Loss, disappointment. What it is to spiritually die, I guess, which I still don't have words for. Not words that actually communicate what I want to communicate, so it feels like I'm holding my breath. I'm like, but it doesn't quite come out the way, and I still feel restless. And the good things that he provides to me in the prison don't seem to be enough to compare to the prison. And I'm like, you're the house, you're the casino. And the more I wait on you, the more I'm losing. But then, the way that you see it, now I have nothing to lose. Okay. All right. You're tickling my fancy with that one, God. But it's not what it feels like most of the time. And I think that if God has you waiting on a promise, this is what you will find. You will have the old things passing away, which will feel like losing. And I don't think that our minds, our whatever, our beings are able to understand what we're going through at the current time, what it is to actually lose. You will have to grieve. You will have to feel that loss, right? And you feel the loss with the Lord, and he speaks of this golden ticket, the promises of God. Faith is what you have, and faith is all you need. In a world that does not rely upon faith in God's promises, the most foolish thing you can do is to wait on God. And I think people from the outside think that waiting on God is like just setting up camp and chilling. And I'm like, no, if you're going to wait on God, he's going to put you in a position of waiting, right? And this is going to feel, at least from my experience, the hardest work that you've ever had to do. To trust and believe, to grow in your faith, to me is the hardest work I could ever do. So hard I can't do it by myself. I would never have the motivation to stay focused like that. I want to tap out. But he gives me a new day. The faithfulness of God shows up and gives me a new day. So it's like if you're waiting on a promise, if God has promised you something and you're experiencing great loss right now, you're not the only one. And it seems to be designed this way, that he is preparing you to receive what he has for you that doesn't require the old version of you. So that passes away. Because we're not talking about just physical things. The versions of me that I thought I was, I'm not. And there was hints of who I was in these versions, but there's a lot of it that has been cut away. And that's very strange, because I look at myself in the mirror and I don't recognize who I am. To wait on God is not to just crack open a beer and just chill. I mean, he might give you that from time to time, but there seems to be spiritual warfare that is used as a tool for your development, so that whenever you do receive the promise, you are one that can actually hold it and it be a blessing to you, not a curse. You are prepared to hold it. Why? Because you have faith in the assurance of God. as he took you through the deep forest where you couldn't see anything. And there's something about being deep in the woods with God, the one who led you there. You're going to wrestle with yourself thinking that you led yourself there, but you're going to end up in the same conclusion that I have, and you're going to blame God. You're going to get mad at him and say, you brought me here. But now that I'm with you deep in these woods, I need you. I need you more than I thought I would ever need anybody. Because my old assurances, the golden tickets that I used to have that weren't so golden, right, was the assurance of me and what I could do and what I could build and how I could make a life for myself. He's like, no, this has to pass away. So I'm taking you deep into the wilderness. I'm taking you deep into the woods where you don't know the beginning from the end, and you're disoriented in a way that you've never felt before, and you're enduring in a way that you never thought you could. I never thought that my mind could be worn so thin. And there's something about going through, I feel like it's like a breakthrough, right? But it feels like it's breaking you. So you can't tell if it's breaking you or if it's breaking off these beliefs that you had of who you thought you were. And I think for a time, it's just going to be confusing. And for a time, like right now, I'm like, I can't be sure. I don't know. It feels like it's breaking me. But then I'm the one who's remaining. Like I'm still here. And that is the faithfulness of God that is having me in the position to receive the promise. And I think this is what he will do for you. And you will find that like he will come and sift out all of the doubt and the fear that seems to be tied to you, your performance, how you're supposed to keep yourself in position or whatever. It's like, no, be still and know that I am God. Meaning I will put you in a place of stillness. He doesn't just do it to people that don't say yes to him, right? There has to be a consent. He's not going to force you. But I think this is where when you say yes to him, when he promises you something and you say, yes, I was made to inherit this promise from you. I was made to know you more intimately and deeply, to know you and to know myself through you. Well, then he's going to take you into the woods. He's going to take you into the wilderness. And once you're there, you're locked in. You're locked in a way that you could never be locked in with yourself. Because now you're deep in the woods and there's no going back. You can look back if you want. And I think that might be part of your journey. It certainly has been mine. As he sifts out the doubt and the fear, he's like, there's nothing to go back to here. There's nothing to go back to there. You can't go back to an old version of yourself. And because you've been in the casino and you feel like you've lost so much, now you have nothing to lose. You're already here. It's like part of me has this determination to see this thing through because it's cost me everything. And I don't believe that that's just my sole determination. I think that's him and his anchor of hope, right? He's like, I who began a good work, I am faithful to complete it. You said yes to me, you consented to me, and I took you into the woods, into the wilderness, and now you have to rely upon me. You are in a position for me to build trust with you here. You're not getting out of this one. It's so hard to wrap your mind around that and to find any kind of resolution with that. I don't think that you will. Not until you see this thing through. But you begin to live almost like you're breathing underwater or something. You just begin to live in a different way. In dependence upon him. The assurance of God. You're in position to receive a promise. You must be prepared to receive this promise. Being prepared to receive a promise will feel like a lot of loss. And since you don't know him, because you're in a process of getting to know him. You're going to wrestle with him in where you really are, so that you become a worshiper in spirit and in truth. But that being one he produces in you, the man, the woman. But you're going to wrestle with him. I believe that you will, if you are honest with yourself. And he has a way of leading you to a still place where there's nowhere else to go. So everything that's in you comes out. You get squeezed. I hate you, God. He's still there. But I'm like, you're the house, and I'm not the house. It's only a matter of time before it's like rigged. I can think of it this way, where it's rigged in this way where the longer I stay, the more I lose. But I can't stay long enough. I don't have the strength to stay long enough. And so it's only a matter of time before the house kicks me out. The casino kicks me out when I run out of money. And I have nothing. So for some reason, because I don't quite know him yet, because my life seems to squeeze me in this way that feels like I'm forsaken, that doesn't feel like he's there. I'm thinking he's the house, I'm not the house, and it's only a matter of time before he kicks me out of the house. And I'm back in the cold. But now I'm back in the cold and I have nothing. Because before, when I was in the cold, right, when I was in the dark, I was able to manage it in some way. And in managing it in some way, I had these assurances in myself. They weren't very good whenever the light comes on and shows you, oh, that's actually pretty top heavy. That's not very secure. That's not a solid thing. But in the dark, the things that you have assurances with seem to be solid enough. But there's something about coming into the house where the lights are on and you see what's up, and you're just like, damn it. You are the only assurance. So if you're waiting on a promise from God, I feel for you. And I think those are the only ones that are really going to understand this video. And the videos that I make. Seems to be that. But you will find that the endurance is not yours. The strength is not yours. It does not depend on your willpower, your discipline, all of these things. That's all of the old things that are passing away. By the Spirit of God, you were in position to receive the promise. You said yes, you consented to him. You will live and have your being in him in a new way, free from dependence upon yourself, which is very weird. Because you can say these things, like we can all say these things. There's something about walking it out, though. It really brings up the severity of just what I'm talking about. To wait on God. Foolish to man. But to him, it seems to be, to him, it is a golden ticket. It is a sure thing. Why? Because he is confident in himself. He is confident in what he can do with you. But this is where it's difficult for us. We don't know that until that's tested. We don't know that until we see that. And for the longest time, it seems like you're just screaming into a void and you just hear his consistent, annoying, faithful voice that says, I got you. I'm going to get us there. Right? You don't understand what I'm doing, but one day you will. And it's this confidence in himself. Whenever your entire world has been flipped upside down, you're like, maybe a couple of years ago we were like in position for this promise, but now we are nowhere close to land. Right? We are nowhere close to civilization. There's no way this can happen now. But you're too far in it. You become too far in it at some point, and there is no going back. And I think that's how God He says that whenever I send out a word, it will not return void. I who began a good thing, I am faithful to complete it. The confidence in God concerning his own words, a promise that is a golden ticket, a sure thing. But to us, it could feel the complete opposite of a sure thing. Because all of the things that we thought were sure things, waiting on God, you find out the truth of those things. They're not sure things at all. And he is really the only sure thing. And that is terrifying. The invisible one, he is the only sure thing here. Everything else is fading away. Everything else is passing away. You don't know until you know. You won't know until you know. And he will have you waiting on him. So if you're feeling all the things it is to wait on God, right? If you have been in a position to receive a promise, I believe you're going to feel a lot of different kinds of ways about that, like I have. And I swear, I'm just giving an honest account here, because it seems to be the confidence in himself that makes it a golden ticket, right? But you don't know of that confidence until you walk this thing out with him. So when you're walking with him, you're not going to know of that confidence, but you're going to need to know that confidence. You will look back on your life and say, he was right the whole time. But what made it difficult for me was I didn't know what I didn't know yet. I didn't know what hadn't been produced yet. I didn't know what hadn't been revealed to me yet. I was in a season of getting to know the God who's confident in himself. For the longest time, my life was me relying upon the confidence of me. What a 180, right? 180. What a flip, complete opposite flip to then now have to rely upon the confidence of God. God? Who is God? God's like everything that's not something you can understand. But he's also simple where children can understand him. Weird. It's like, why do I even make these videos? It's what I feel. It's not a golden ticket at all. But something in me makes these videos, man. And releases by faith. So you can hear, and it seems to be, it doesn't matter, you're good. You know why you're good? Because he's confident in himself, in his own words. And you're just going to be a witness to the confidence in his own words. The faithfulness that he knows he already has concerning you. He's not worried about you. He doesn't seem to be worried about me. He doesn't seem to be worried about anything. If you are in position to receive a promise, you will. And if you don't, this is what I think anyway, he's a liar. Because a promise is a promise, right? Oh, I know there's like conditions or something. It's like, well, I don't know. Wait on God to receive a promise and you'll find like the conditions that could hold you back don't actually hold you back. And the conditions that get you there quicker are not able to get you there quicker. It's in limbo land. You can't get there quicker. You can't get there not on time, basically. Or like you'll get there on time. That's the annoying part. You wait on him. It's not like, okay, I just have 6 more months. So you have no idea how long you have. That's not part of the deal. At the right time, I will do it. What's the right time? Whatever he is determined is the right time for you. So then that way, the version of you that tries to get yourself there quicker or thinks that you're going to hold yourself behind, the doubts and the fears in those versions of you are sifted out. And they don't end up lasting forever. It's just like, I'm not even needed in these ways. Nope. the golden ticket, the promise of God. And he sees it as a golden ticket, and you are in a position by faith to see it as a golden ticket. When your physical circumstances and your feelings and your mind say, this is the most unstable thing I've ever waited for. It seems so unstable. He's like, trust me, I'm confident in myself about you. I'll get us there. I'm like, does he even like grant promises anymore? Or is this just like a Bible thing? I've, all the thoughts. And I'm like, I don't know. And even if he does it in someone else's life, would I believe that he would do it in mine? I don't know. Because there's something about when you're waiting on God, when you're walking with God, it gets so personal. It's the most personal, intimate thing ever. And you're like, I don't know, actually. Because if I'm in a process of getting to know you, then there is this awkward phase in our relationship where I don't trust you. I'm trusting you, but I don't trust you. And he's like, there's space with me for that. You're trusting me. You're in a position to trust me, but you feel like you can't trust me. There's space for that. Hopefully that helps. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. It doesn't seem to matter, really. And I think that's kind of the point. It doesn't seem to matter, and that's kind of the point, because the promises of God, yes and amen, the promises of God, more sure than anything, more solid than anything. Doesn't really matter what you're gonna get or not get. If you saw this video, you're one who's God has showed you this video because of his faithfulness, right? And then you're hearing what God is saying to you through me because of his faithfulness. And his faithfulness continues to keep you in position to receive this promise, not yours. And yeah, this is a reminder of his faithfulness. You could see it that way. But I don't even think you need that with where you're going, with where I'm going.